You know, there's a good chance you work with, live next to, or have been served by a member of America's dual-service workforce. We're talking about the people who are balancing a civilian job, maybe their education, and critical military duty, all at the same time. And figuring out how to support them, well, that's not just a challenge, it's a huge design problem for our entire economy.
This quote right here, it just nails the reality of it. I mean, picture this. A logistics manager in Kentucky, spending all week coordinating medical supplies. Then a storm hits, an emergency gets declared, and boom, by Saturday morning, she's a National Guard sergeant leading a search and rescue team through floodwaters. And this isn't some made-up scenario. It's the actual day-to-day reality for hundreds of thousands of Americans.
And yeah, we are not talking about a small group of people. That number, over 750,000, that's how many people are currently serving in the National Guard and Reserve. These aren't soldiers just tucked away on some distant base. They're your colleagues, they're your neighbors, and they're the entrepreneurs who are fueling your local economy.
And that really brings us to the big question we're tackling in this explainer. These folks are trained to be incredibly adaptable, ready for any mission that's thrown at them. But the systems that are supposed to support them, our corporate HR policies, our traditional university structures, they often treat their service like it's just some inconvenient disruption, not the strategic asset that it actually is.
So what does it actually feel like to live this kind of dual life? In this first section, we're going to dive into the constant, high-stakes balancing act they face between two very different and very demanding worlds.
First, let's just forget that old model of 1 weekend a month. That's not how it works anymore. Today's operational tempo is relentless, and it creates some serious friction points. Sudden activations for things like natural disasters put a huge strain on small businesses. Service members say they miss out on promotions, even with legal protections in place. And the impact on their families? It's profound. Get this, nearly half of them report having zero military support, forcing them to rely completely on their local network during deployments.
And this friction isn't just a personal problem, it's systemic. In our second section, we're going to see how our employment and education systems are just fundamentally out of sync, failing to recognize the incredible potential these citizen soldiers bring to the table.
The skills these men and women learn in uniform have direct, high-value counterparts in the civilian world. We're talking about an Army nurse practitioner, a Coast Guard cyber expert. These are people trained to elite levels. So this isn't just a list of jobs. It's a map of the incredible economic potential that we're failing to fully capture.
So why is there such a disconnect? Well, a lot of it comes down to a massive perception gap. While almost 2/3 of veterans see themselves as effective communicators, less than 1 in 5 civilian employers see it that way. And that's the crucial point, right? The skills are there, they're just getting lost in translation.
The problem is even worse when you look at education. See, most universities are built on this rigid seat time model. A 15-week semester is completely broken for someone who might get activated in week 5. This leads to these absolutely absurd situations like forcing a combat medic, someone with real-world trauma experience, to retake a basic first aid class. It's a fundamental waste of time, money, and proven talent.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The solution might actually come from the very institution that's creating the challenge. As we're about to see, the U.S. military has pioneered a learning framework that civilian institutions should be racing to adopt.
It's called Outcome-Based Training and Education, or OBT&E, and the whole model is built around one simple idea. It doesn't matter how long you sit in a chair. What matters is, can you perform the task to a specific standard under realistic conditions? It's all about mastery, not minutes.
This model is built on a really powerful learning cycle. Instead of just memorizing a bunch of information, people are constantly doing, reflecting on what they did, and then adapting. This continuous loop doesn't just teach skills, it actually forges adaptable, resilient problem solvers, the exact kind of people every modern company is desperate to hire.
So, how do we apply these lessons in the civilian world? Well, our fourth section is all about a crucial mindset shift for employers, moving away from just doing the bare minimum legally and moving toward a genuine state of readiness.
A compliance mindset basically asks, what's the absolute bare minimum I have to do? This means following USRA. That's the federal law that guarantees unpaid leave and job reinstatement. But a readiness mindset asks a totally different question. How can this person's service make us stronger? And that leads to things like differential pay, real family support, and active mentoring. It's the difference between seeing military service as a liability versus recognizing it as a strategic asset.
And this kind of support is most critical for small businesses. I mean, look at the disproportionate impact here.
Adding just one Guard member to a small company increases its activation risk by 2.6%. That is a massive jump compared to a large corporation. And since these small businesses are the backbone of Guard and Reserve employment, they're also the ones who need the most support.
Okay, so let's put it all together. In our final section, we're going to outline what a system that's truly designed for this dual-service reality actually looks like. This isn't about one single policy, but a set of 7 interlocking principles for a much smarter future.
Let's run through the first 4 principles. Number 1, education has to be flexible, letting students pause and then resume without any penalty. 2, professional licenses, like for nursing, need to be portable across state lines, so a deployment doesn't completely derail a career. 3, we need digital portfolios that can instantly translate military skills for civilian recruiters. And 4, employers should offer differential pay, making sure no one takes a financial hit for answering the call to serve.
The final 3 principles are what really lock it all into place. 5. Workplaces have to be family aware, offering support like paid reintegration leave. 6. We need direct communication channels between employers and military units to manage expectations on both sides. And finally, number 7, vocational schools can adopt a gold standard model, using technology to create undeniable records of skill mastery, basically bringing military-grade discipline to civilian credentialing.
And all of this leaves us with one last provocative thought. What if we've been looking at this all wrong? What if the citizen soldier, this adaptable, lifelong learner who's constantly moving between these different worlds, what if they aren't an HR problem to be managed, but are actually the prototype for the agile, resilient, and mission-focused workforce of the future? Because when we design systems that work for them, we might just be designing systems that work better for everyone.